And that developed into a whole range of work called Transomatic Dialogue. As I started working with that, I realized actually I didn't need any color at all. I started using simply Transomatic Dialogue without color for a number of years. But when I came to teach it, people were asking me, you know, it's so effective, why don't you teach it? Well, I didn't know how I did it. I just knew that I did it. And so when I put my mind to thinking, well, what is it that I'm actually doing? And I started bringing it into a clarity that I could share with people. And then, just by using trance and dialogue, I realized I didn't need color. But when it came to teaching other people, it was very difficult for them to maintain a line of emotional coherence for a 2-hour session. It would take time. So I had to find an easier way for them. So out of that came what I'm calling now Transomatic Starlight Colour Dialogue, where when you access memories from the body, first you find the place in the body which is being affected, the sign, the symptoms, the place, the ache, the pain, anything. But you somatize it. So for instance, if for instance you're having trouble with your relationships, and I say, okay, when you say that, where do you feel it in your body? And then wherever that place is, I say, well, if that place had a color, what color would it be? Oh, green. Okay? If it had an emotion, what emotion would it have? Oh, rage. Okay? Anything else? Yeah, I feel helpless. I don't know what to do when I get that. And so we start on the Starlight Colour method. It's a 5-pointed star. Starting from the place where it has been indicated, with the colour and with the emotions, I then say to the person who is in trance, I say, now go back to the very first time you can remember these emotions. It's an emotional memory. It's called an emotion-bound memory. When you have a memory, it's always stuck with the emotions of that time. So I say to the person, now go back to the very first time your rage and your helplessness came into your body. And then the person starts remembering. And it may seem to be something completely separate from their relationship and from all of that stuff. It never is separate, but it may appear to be separate. If you suddenly have a childhood memory, and you're talking about your relationships, what's that got to do with it? Well, your childhood has everything to do with it. The way your mother and father were together when you were a child will set the tone for your relationships. And that's recorded in your body as a memory. If you see your mother and father fighting and shouting and screaming, and you have those emotions of turmoil and upset, that is locked into your body as a memory, an emotion-bound memory. By releasing that, by coming into the place where that memory is now, bringing that unconscious memory out of the darkness into the power of now, into who you are now. Instead of it being there like an emotional cyst, which is involved with the emotions of the child at the time, with the events of the time, and most of all with the disempowerment of the child at the time. As you go back with the power of now, I might say to you, well, if you heard your mother and father fighting now, how would it be different? Well, I'd tell them to stop behaving like idiots. I said, well, how would you take care of that child? The child that you were then. I would hold that child I would tell them, look what you're doing to the child. And so we enter into a dialogue of that person who's now remembering their childhood memory, a dialogue where that person is dialoguing with their parents. And in this way, the person is re-empowered. They come into the power of now, instead of being traumatized by that old memory which was sucking away their power, made them feel sick or ill or whatever.